Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Gunfire's Marshall fans still recognize Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty as one of Hollywood's most famous couples. Disappointed that they never made things official, the tension between Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty, who last appeared on Gunsmoke in 1974, captivated viewers. Nearly 50 years later, fans still watch and discuss the answers to those questions, with a surprising response from Gunsmoke began as a radio show in 1952. When it was turned into a TV series, they sought a character to guard Dodge City. James Arness, 32 at the time, was chosen as the suitable candidate. John Wayne recommended him for the job, and he outperformed other competitors, including William Conrad, the voice of Marshall. Matt Dillon on the radio. Standing at 6 feet 7 inches. James Arness was the perfect guy to bring a lot of different stories to life. He really understood the struggles of the world since he'd been through them himself as a W2 veteran. Basically, the studio and writers wanted someone tough enough to take on the pain, and that was definitely him. Throughout Gunsmoke, the Marshal went through gunshots, beatdowns, stabbings, and even got poisoned once. This role was just meant for James Arness, and stepping into it didn't require much change on his part. Amy Stock, who worked with him on 4 Gunsmoke films, pointed out how easily the Marshal moved from off-duty to being in action on screen. She recalled that the first time she saw him, he was wearing the Dillon hat, the coat, and a pair of tennis shoes. He was casually seated in his chair, still in his tennis shoes. When the filmmakers told him, "We're ready for you on set," he then took off his tennis shoes and slipped into his cowboy boots. Immediately he went straight to his horse, and just like that, he transformed into Matt Dillon. She said that he was the perfect fit for the character. When Amanda Blake landed her role in the Western TV show Gunsmoke, she was in her mid-20s and super excited. She put in a lot of effort to get the part of Miss Kitty and was grateful to share the screen with James Arness, who played Marshall. Matt Dillon fans adored Amanda's portrayal of Miss Kitty, the Dodge City saloon owner. Her beauty shined during the show's 1966 color transition, halfway through its run. Gunsmoke aired from 1955 to 1975, totaling 20 seasons. James remained on the show for 20 seasons as Matt Dillon, although Amanda Blake left as Miss Kitty in the 19th season. While Matt and Miss Kitty's relationship was not fully explored, it was clear that there was a deeper connection between them. Jim Arness was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, on May 26, 1923. In 1945, he began his career as a radio announcer in Minnesota. After moving to Los Angeles, he gained recognition in the film industry. In 1947, he landed a role alongside Loretta Young in The Farmer's Daughter. He also appeared in several westerns and the 1951 sci-fi film The Thing, which boosted his career in the early 1950s. Jim joined John Wayne's production firm, Bat Jack, and worked with him on 4 films over 3 years. It was John Wayne who gave Jim his biggest break in 1955, casting him as Marshall. CBS initially considered Wayne for the role of Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke, the story goes, but he declined. Instead, Jim was cast along with 25 other actors, including Raymond Burr, to play the role. Jim decided to pursue a career in television and starred in Gunsmoke for 20 years, earning 3 Emmy nominations and 4 TV movies. He also starred in the 1992 film Gunsmoke: Ivor the Long Ride. From 1976 to 1979, Jim starred in TV westerns, including How the West Was Won. James Arness earned numerous accolades during his time in the U.S. Army, including the Bronze Star, Combat Infantryman Badge, and Purple Heart. It's impressive considering he initially wanted to join the Navy as a fighter pilot but got turned away because he was too tall. The Army made good use of his height though. When he landed at Anzio Beach Head in Italy on January 22, 1944, they sent him first off the landing craft to check the water's depth. Just 10 days after arriving, he was in the thick of some brutal battles on a pitch-black night on February 1, 1944. While sneaking through a vineyard, he heard voices and a scream followed by a fierce firefight. He took some heavy machine gun fire that shattered his lower leg, and a nearby concussion grenade tossed him in the air as bullets flew around. The soldiers managed to win the battle, but Arness was left with serious injuries that led to multiple surgeries back in the U.S. to fix his leg after being honorably discharged on January 29, 1945 he signed up at Beloit College and worked as a radio announcer, which set him on an unexpected path into entertainment. He hitchhiked to Hollywood in search of acting gigs and quickly became friends with John Wayne. When the role of Matt Dillon opened up, Wayne gave him a nudge, and that's how Arness became a household name as U.S. Marshal Matt Dillon. He portrayed a character who upheld the law with a strong sense of fairness and compassion. In the show Gunsmoke, Kitty Russell prioritized love over drama. In real life, Amanda Blake, who played Diana, focused on her work and passion for saving dogs and cats. Amanda Blake was actually born Beverly Louise Neal in Buffalo on February 20, 1929. As the only child of Jesse and Louise Neal, she had some English and Scottish heritage and could trace her roots back to a Revolutionary War hero named Kate Barry, who helped warn patriots about the British and played a role in their victory at the Battle of Cowpens, which was a big deal for the win at Yorktown. When she was in high school, Beverly and her family moved to Claremont, California. She finished her studies at Claremont High School and then went on to Pomona College, but while studying she got super into community theater, which started to take over her life, so she decided to really go for an acting career. In the 1940s she dove deep into acting, performing in summer stock productions in New England and taking part in theater and radio gigs back in Buffalo. To keep her dreams alive, she worked as a telephone operator while chasing her acting aspirations. Eventually Beverly made her way to Hollywood. After getting discovered by MGM, the studio had big plans for her and dubbed her the next Greer Garson, who was a big box office hit. In the 1940s she officially changed her name from Beverly Neal to Amanda Blake, looking for something a little more memorable. Amanda began her career in the 1950s with a role in Stars in My Crown and starred in several films and TV shows. Her breakthrough role in 1955 was as Miss Kitty Russell, the owner of the Long Branch Saloon in Dodge City, alongside unknown James Arness as Marshal Matt Dillon. Together, they created one of the most beloved Western TV shows ever. Blake once said, "In 1964, Miss Kitty married Jason Seymour, but divorced in 1967. She then married Frank Gilbert, staying with him until 1982. Both characters were likable, leading viewers to believe a romance was brewing. However, the romantic vibe between them was more than just fan speculation. She was always willing to provide counsel and listen to their stories about cowboy life." The behavior of a Sunday school teacher in 1955 was not typical of a decent lady in the Wild West. Miss Kitty, a bold pioneer woman, kept a shotgun stash behind her bar and recruited younger, more daring staff. The cowboys were tough, rugged, and wild, seeking more than just drinks and conversation after returning from the cattle trails. The show's writers and producers chose not to display public affection between Kitty and Matt, despite their close relationship. Arness, a strong lawman, was a great shot and could handle a large horse, making him a solid peacekeeper. Matt and Miss Kitty were in love, but they didn't marry after 20 years. Matt was embarrassed by Kitty's outspokenness and ability to handle drinking and shooting. In his autobiography, James Arness discussed why Kitty and Matt never dated in Gunsmoke. He explained that fans often asked about Matt Dillon's relationship with Kitty and why it never took off. Amanda Blake was adamant about not allowing anyone to mess with her character. Arness clarified that their relationship was based on the producer's decision, as going further could complicate matters and reduce the show's popularity. Arness suggested that keeping the relationship subtle and mysterious may benefit viewers, even if they don't see it that way. The love between Arness and Amanda Blake was evident behind the scenes, and Arness praised Blake's casting as Russell. Aries praised Blake as a talented actor and friend, as a lawman might make enemies, and being known as Matt Dillon's girlfriend could put Kitty at risk. Is there connection intended? Jim Burns, who penned 34 of the show's best episodes, acknowledged their nuanced approach following the fade-out. Matt Dillon had an unspoken agreement to go upstairs after the Long Branch closed, but they never did. Instead, they flirted, hugged, and left with their arms around each other, but never kissed. James Arness believes the show's creators intentionally kept Matt and Kitty's relationship ambiguous to maintain tension and keep viewers engaged. This strategy worked well, as fans requested more romantic development between the two. Sarah, a former love of Matt, runs a way station for criminals and wants Matt back in season 15's The Badge. After Matt is shot for the 11th time, Kitty puts the long branch up for safety, moves to another town, and starts a business with Beverly Garland in 1973. The dynamics between Matt and Kitty seem to change. Miss Michael Learned, famous for her role in The Waltons, played a love interest for Matt in a storyline where he loses his memory. They develop a relationship and share a kiss, a rare occurrence for Matt. When Matt recovers, he returns to Miss Kitty. This storyline was further explored in a TV movie 17 years later. Miss Learned's character and Matt have a child, which is abducted. Matt searches for his child with the help of another character, mirroring the romantic tension between Matt and Kitty. In a later season, Miss Kitty encounters a man who proposes to her after being injured during a stagecoach robbery. Matt acknowledges his love but unexpectedly leaves the decision to Kitty. During Amanda Blake's final season as Miss Kitty, she struggled with her commute and argued with producer John Mantley over clothes. Blake now lives in Arizona and is married. Miss Kitty was expected to look sophisticated, but Mantley had not budgeted for new outfits for Blake in several years. When Blake requested a new wardrobe, Mantley dismissed her, later admitting it was the biggest mistake he had ever made. James was not alone in his criticism of the situation. Amanda did too, according to her. The creators of Gunsmoke avoided introducing a romantic plotline between Matt Dillon and Miss Kitty to maintain the Western vibe and avoid alienating fans. Blake joked about the Western stereotype of heroes focusing on horses over women, reassuring viewers that Dillon's feelings for Kitty were deeper than his bond with his horse. Gunsmoke was designed to appeal to all ages by using the charm of the Old West. Focusing on historical elements left little opportunity for romance. Blake encouraged people to anticipate love possibility between Kitty and Marshall, as the show lacked apparent romantic scenes. After the series ended in 1979, Arness starred in How the West Was Won, McLean's Law, and The Alamo 13 Days to Glory. In 1987, the Gunsmoke family reunited, and John Mantley brought Amanda back for the first TV film. Gunsmoke returns to Dodge, written by Jim Burns.